And welcome back to the spaceship. We took a little bit of a detour last week.
Yeah, we got caught up in some nebulas and shit.
We had a little side mission.
We did. And then shit happened, and then here we are. And Derek, how do you podcast again?
I know, it's weird, right?
It's fucking weird.
Take a week off and it's
2 weeks. This is
we
took a week off, but now it's been 2 weeks in between, and now it's all weird and shit because I don't know what the fuck. Not that we were doing. It's still amateur hour. Who are we kidding?
It is. It's going to be amateur hour until episode 100.
Yeah. Even then,
we still won't know what the hell we're doing or have anything planned.
No, we don't have a shit planned. Today's the 20th, and I got the Patreon. We're now on Patreon.
Heck
Let's
yeah.
go. And I don't even really know how to work it. I know that you can find our Patreon if you follow us on Instagram.
You could also follow ass too, but whatever.
Follow ass.
I think that's what most people do on Instagram. They just follow ass.
Oh, yeah. Somebody told us today we talk about butts too much, and I'm like, that's fucking Derek. Anyway, you can follow us on Instagram at spaced underscore out underscore DD, which is spaced out with Dom and Derek.
Oh, is that what the DD stands for?
Yes. Well, I didn't know how to other double Ds. Whatever, it is what it is. Follow those two on Instagram.
Interesting.
And you can follow us on that. And in the description, there's a link tree, and that will take you to our Patreon page. For right now, that's all this amateur knows how to set it up until I figure out how to work this shit.
Yeah. And of course, like we said, that's going to go to upgrading our gear here.
Yes. Because next week, we will be having guests. We know who they are. They know who they are, but nobody else knows who they are. Actually, a handful, like two other people know who they are. But yeah, next week we are having guests.
That sounded very like hippy dippy introspective.
It is, man.
Who they are, who we are. I don't know who I am. Do you know who you are? But they know who they are.
They know who they are.
That was very.
Well, you only know one of them.
Do I?
I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah. You could pick them out of a police lineup if you had to.
I can pick out a lot of people out of a police lineup if I had to.
It's your fucking job. Almost your fucking job. Anyway, yeah. So next week we're having fucking guests. Let's go. So all donations will be going towards the ridiculous amount of money that I just dropped on my credit card for it, and that's cool because this is just too much fun to just have by ourselves. And it's going to be a gong show. Just FYI, it's going to be a fucking train wreck next week. Because it's going to be it's just a heavy lineup. It's a heavy lineup. Anyway, that's for then. I don't have any, I guess that's all the housekeeping for the week.
Yeah, let's let people know where we were last week.
Well, since you drove.
Yeah, so we went.
You knew where we were going.
We went on a little side mission. We had
Oh, you mean the miss exits?
Yeah, you're the worst.
Because I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know how many U-turns we had to take.
Two.
Dom is the worst navigator.
Two in the car, one on foot.
Yeah. I was just like, I think we've gone too far.
It's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, we went too far.
But luckily, in that area, it's just you get off, loop right back around, so it wasn't that bad.
So where did we go, Derek?
We took a little jaunt in the woods there, man.
We did.
That was fun. That's the first time I've been out in the woods in a long time. I think probably since 2018. And for me, that's a while because I love going out into the bush.
Yep. For me, probably a little bit longer. I am having a hard time recollecting a hard date. I just can't remember. And we went to Go Home Lake.
Oh, you just ruined it.
Why?
You're not supposed to give away your spots, bro.
Oh.
Anyways, went to Go Home Lake.
Fuck.
Yeah, so we it's not we went on Crown land.
Yep.
So for people who don't know, Crown land is basically land that you own as a Canadian.
Yep.
It's your right. Your taxes, you pay taxes, it's your land.
You can access this land.
You can access a lot of this land, and people don't know about it, which is crazy. Because most people are comfortable about doing car camping in like provincial parks.
Or like GRCA, Grand River Conservation. Like, yeah. Or is that provincial park, like Guelph Lake and shit like that? Are those called provincial parks?
No, but
Okay.
it's
Same thing.
same deal where you drive your car into a lot, you unpack your car, set up your tent, and you're 10 feet away from the next campsite.
Yeah.
Which I hate. So that's why I like to go out into Crown Land, because you're by yourself. In fact, we actually weren't by ourselves.
Well, I was going to say, we were relatively by ourselves. We weren't completely alone.
Yeah. So no, the hiking was awesome. The hiking was great. I had a spot in mind because I've been there before, so I kind of knew where we were heading, where we were going to set up. But as we got closer, we kind of saw off in the distance that there was what looked like to be a tent. So when we got closer, we can see someone had already taken the spot. So it's not that big of a deal. Like, we had tons of places that we could have set up anyways.
Yep. You were just looking forward to the same spot that you were at.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that spot because it's just a nice, big, flat, open, rocky spot that you have great water access. We basically set up a couple 100 feet over and had the same thing, so it wasn't that bad.
And he was a crazy motherfucker.
Peter in the middle of the woods there.
Peter just, because, this is like a couple hours in. He came over talking to you, and I'm like, oh shit, I better not just leave you alone with whoever's out here. So I go over, and there's Peter who just stood crouched there, just talking to us for about a good half an hour.
Yeah, maybe.
And then he just stood there crouched, and I'm like, oh, this dude's hammered, just pissed. And he's like he just wasn't. He was really baked.
Yeah, he was a little high. Looked like he had a vape in his hand, but. Cool dude, man.
Cool dude. Just like
he had the same idea as us. You know, he had a few days off, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going into the woods."
Yep.
Like, and literally, that's what he said. He's like, you know what? My wife was doing 3 or 4 days in a row.
Yeah, something like that.
So he was just like, okay,
screw it,
I'm going out.
And he thought that we were crazy
because we hiked in.
Because
he's like, where'd you put your boat? We're like, boat? What boat?
And he had the sickest accent. Just like, what would you say? Like an East Coaster accent. Just it goes up and down, up, like his speech mannerisms.
He's like pure, like he's probably like 7th generation Canadian.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
that's him. That's the type of guy he is.
And then I shot the shit with him because you kept on fishing, and he's just Pete's not a fan of the neighbors. I guess we should say, because while we were setting up, like, where our site was right at the water's edge. Like, you slept probably 10 feet away, not even.
Probably less than 10 feet from the water's edge.
I would say like 6, 7, 8 feet from the water's edge. I was closer to the water, but I was a little bit further back away from you.
Yeah.
And so we're right there, and we're kind of on a big rock right at the water, obviously. And we were even set up when those kayakers went by.
No, we're still setting up.
We're still setting up.
And we have to explain, like, this lake, to the west of it, like, everything on the west is basically all cottages.
Mm-hmm.
On the west bank.
Boat only access.
Yeah, it's basically boat access only. So we had parked at the marina and hiked our way in. So everything on the west side of the lake is all cottages. Everything on the east side and to the north is all Crown land, which is where we were.
Yes.
And apparently the locals there
do not like
us. For some reason. We're not bothering them. Like, they have all this open space, and they were giving us looks and kind of like questioning us, like, why we were there. And I'm just
there was one,
one lady in particular.
This one lady, which was a group of about 2 kayaks and 2 canoes came by, and the closest kayak to us was this older lady. And I want to be nice, but to be completely honest, she was just a pompous bitch.
Like, I don't believe in when people say, like, oh, privilege, you're white privilege, you're privileged, blah blah blah. Okay, this lady really was privileged.
This lady is 100%.
She really was. Like, she thought this lake was hers.
Yes, and it was completely in her tone.
Yeah.
She's like,
completely, like, it was like an underhanded kind of thing that she had asked us.
Oh, how much does it cost you guys to camp here? And I can't reproduce the tone effectively, but it was one pompous bitch. Yeah. And Derek's like, what did you say to her?
I said, nothing. This is Crown land.
Free to own.
Yeah.
Not quite, but you get the idea. And I, like, me being me, I was like, oh, that's just whatever. Like, I didn't even make of it up until you said it after.
Yeah.
And it was just the way that she said that.
Yeah.
It later clicked in my head. She was just, would you say that they're just hating us because we have the same level of access to
the waters,
the waters,
and we're not paying shit?
We're not paying jack shit. We're paying for what's on our back, and they're paying ludicrous money for those
mortgages.
Cottages.
They're paying mortgages to be on that lake.
Yes,
we spent what, $10 for parking?
$10 for parking.
You know, like, I don't know. And the thing is, it's a huge body of water.
Yeah,
absolutely massive body of water.
Like,
what businesses of yours that we want to come here and camp, spend a night?
Like, we didn't even have a boat.
No.
Like, we weren't even in the water. We went for 2 swims. That's it. Like, we weren't even in the water, boating around, ripping around. They are.
Mm-hmm.
They were.
Everyone was, man.
Everyone is going
full tilt.
Oh yeah. We're not. We're just chilling, minding our own business.
Cleaned up after ourselves.
Yep.
Like, you looked at the campsite, you wouldn't even know we were there. When we left.
In fact, I think we left it cleaner than what we found it.
Actually, we did. We had to clean up the campsite before we even set up our stuff.
And that was just...
Yeah, but even Peter,
our
buddy Peter, even
does
he said...
not like the neighbors.
Yeah, no, but he...
Fuck this and fuck that and fuck them and fuck them.
Yeah.
It's like, tell us how you feel, Peter.
Right? Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, and then the chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. So I guess he had heard us, like, walking around the woods, like hacking and chopping down just
dead wood,
dead standing, so we can have some fire to cook. And he's just like, oh yeah, if you want a chainsaw, I got a chainsaw you can use if you want to. I'm like, a fucking I'm in my head, I'm going, how the hell did you get a chainsaw up here? And that's when he told us he brought the boat.
Yeah.
So it made sense that he brought all this extra
gear. I brought her up, boys.
Yeah, he's like, just let me know if you want the chainsaw there.
We just fucking have at her limbs, boys.
Yeah, I was just like, I think we're good.
I think we're good, Peter. Never saw him again after that. Just kept to himself.
Cool dude.
I thought he was weird at first, but then it's like, no, this guy's all right. Peter.
Fucking Peter.
And like, you couldn't even read the guy because he just had his sunglasses on in the shade. And I'm like, you can't make eye contact with this guy. I can't kind of see what he's looking at. But no, Peter's all right. What a character. To find out in the woods.
Man. That's funny though, how you can be in the middle of the woods and still freaking bump into people.
Yep.
Last time I was there, we were hiking in. It was probably like 11 p.m. by the time we got up there. It was like we headed up right after work. So that's why we got there late. Same place, and I think I even showed you the spot. I was like, this is where we met him.
Yeah.
So we're hiking through the woods into the pitch black. And I remember my friend Ryan hiked in with a Tupperware in his hand, so it wasn't even packed away. A Tupperware full of tuna casserole that his mom or sister had given to him to bring. And I'm just like, we're laughing as we're walking through the woods at the thought of this guy carrying around this damn big ass Tupperware tuna casserole. It was the funniest thing fucking ever. Like, we're going up and over like rocks and cliffs and down trees, and this guy's just like...
And we were having a hard enough time doing that with fishing rods and daylight.
Yeah. It was the funniest thing ever. I couldn't, like... It pops in my head every once in a while, and we just start laughing. And so we're hiking through the woods, and in the distance, I can see a light. And I'm thinking, but I know there's no cottages on this side. Where's this light coming from? And then I see the light kind of bouncing and getting closer to us. I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm like, it's a person.
You go like tribal senses in your head. You're just like all like on edge,
it's
like ready to
Lord
fight.
of the Flies, ready to go.
Fuck somebody up.
So the light bounced over to us and we hear, hello? And I'm like, hi? And he's just like, oh, I'm waiting for 5 more guys. We're camping over here. And I'm like, okay. Like, we're just passing through. Like, I don't know. Like,
what you got going on?
Like we were going to fight for this spot. Like, I don't understand.
Yes.
So we finally made it up to the guy. His name was Mateus. Shout out Mateus. And it was him and his girlfriend. They were waiting for a couple of more of their friends to show up. So they thought we were them, I guess. But it's just weird how you can just bump into people in the middle of the woods. And doing it in the middle of the night's obviously a little weirder.
Yeah. But like
when you're holding a Tupperware full of tuna casserole.
We're here to make friends.
Would you like some tuna casserole?
It's the name of this episode.
Just take a handful.
Would you like tuna casserole?
Would you like some tuna casserole?
It was a cool spot. I enjoyed it, man. And I guess for those that don't follow us on social media, I
posted some pictures.
I did.
Stuff, right? Yeah.
I set up my hammock, which has got two pieces, and the first component is like an A-frame tarp, and right below that is my actual hammock. So, and it's got a mosquito net. It's pretty legit setup. It's strong as fuck, and I kind of tied it between two trees.
Really good setup.
And I was nice and cool because it was hot. Like it was
Very
sunny.
hot. Dude, I had to jump in the water that one. Remember you saw me pacing back and forth? I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's so damn hot.
You did.
And I just jumped back in the water again.
And the reason why Derek wasn't having a good time is because
I couldn't find my goddamn tent.
So what did you bring instead?
A sunshade used for the beach. So it's basically like a tent, but if you were to take a full tent and slice it in half, that's what this sunshade was. So it's completely open on the one side.
And you were facing it
like right towards the sun.
Like not the part that covers you,
No.
the part that like just how can you say magnifies it towards you.
Oh man. Which wasn't, it didn't bother me. Like the only thing that sucked was the fact that I couldn't fit lengthwise in it to lay down.
It was the funniest thing because Derek's like
so the opening
3/4 in this fucking thing.
So the opening, like the footprint of it, the opening is like exactly like 6 feet across. I'm 6 foot tall. Right? So it's me just cradling the edge of this sunshade, and I had my sleeping pad in there, and I had to deflate it so it could bend into it because it couldn't.
The reason why it was so funny to me because like
we packed literally 15 minutes before we left.
Yeah, we both did. That's no word of lie.
That's on us.
The funniest thing was because like Derek, portrays himself as this like outdoor guy, always fishing and shit, and it's like motherfucker couldn't even find his tent.
Couldn't
right?
find my tent.
And like looking at him in that like I don't even say you weren't. How you say crippled up in that sun shelter, and it was just the funniest sight, man. It's the funniest fucking thing.
Just had to make.
All you see is like your beard hanging out, and like you all. Like,
I just had to make
Quasimodo motherfucker in it. That was funny.
It just I could have done without it. I figured out after how I could have utilized it better.
Yeah,
but
on the way home.
Yeah, on the way home.
On the way
drive
home,
down, I looked at Dom. I was like,
fuck.
I was like, oh shit. I'm like, I just figured out how I could have made that better.
And like you brought up shit to make a shelter, and we were
just in case. Yeah, I basically just didn't want to put the work into make my own shelter, even though I brought
everything to make it with, or materials to possibly will with, plus whatever you would have to find.
But like I told you too, for me to have a tent is odd as well.
Yeah,
I normally would build my own shelters.
Yeah. Well,
so I've built and slept in more shelters than I've ever slept in a tent.
I've never built one. I'm very particular to my hammock setup.
Oh yeah,
it's pretty fucking legit.
I'll show you how to build a shelter.
All you, buddy.
Just a nice little lean-to.
All you.
You get some spruce boughs on that bitch.
Well, it's
airtight.
Actually, I wouldn't want to be sleeping on the ground because, like, I've never seen so many ants on the ground. There were a lot of ants everywhere.
Oh, I didn't even think about that when I went to bed. That's
really?
True. There were tons of fucking ants.
There were ants everywhere.
Not to mention also the biggest goddamn spider I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, like, oh, dude, just
it was the size of a tarantula.
It was fairly fucking big.
Right in front of my shelter.
It was like, oh, Derek, that's so all you, buddy. And I'm up high off the ground, away from this shit. And I'm like, thank you.
Huge. That was the biggest. I don't even know what
that was a big ass spider.
Could have been.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. Fauna? Is that flora or fauna?
That's fauna, I guess.
Yeah,
some sort.
Shit, I don't know.
A spider is an animal. It's not an insect, believe it or not. People
really
think. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's your tidbit.
I'm like, kill it. You're like, no.
Yeah,
no.
you're like, stomp it. I'm like, stomp it. I would stomp on it. This thing would just get mad. It wouldn't even die.
You and I have very different outlooks too.
I would not
neighbors.
Stomp. I don't like to kill things.
No, Derek is like, oh, a toad. Like as as we're packing in, just like with our fucking ridiculously heavy backpacks, like, oh, a toad, and like stop to like, oh, hi, buddy.
Hey,
like,
bud.
Or like a caterpillar.
Oh, caterpillars.
It's hilarious. Our different outlooks on wildlife.
Dude, I'm fascinated about everything.
No, I know.
Like, I just love it. Absolutely love it. Like, I don't know if you saw my Instagram the other day where
you found that big ass mushroom.
Big ass, like it's the first giant puffball mushroom I've ever found in my life.
Puffball?
It's a puffball.
Are they edible?
Very edible. Yes, you can take the whole thing. It's completely solid. You can slice it into like steaks and just like fry it up like you would a steak. Sorry, I just had a burp there off to the side. Beers. Yeah, so that's the first giant. Hold on, I got another burp brewing. Hold on a second. And we're back. So yeah, you can. There's the giant puffball, because I had seen what I thought was one earlier on the trail and looked like someone had smashed it, which is pretty rude. And I told my wife, I'm like, oh, I think that used to be a giant puffball. So we continued on the hike, and then I saw one off in the distance, so I ran over and took a picture with it with my hand beside it for scale. They get much larger than the one that I showed in the picture. So the one I showed in the picture is just a little larger than a softball. I would say probably like
it looked pretty big,
like a cantaloupe. And they get much larger, like a small beach ball even.
Yeah.
Completely edible. Yeah,
I'm
on this tip of mycology. Just the study of mushrooms.
That's it, buddy.
They're pretty cool. They're everywhere. You don't think about it, so you're not going to notice them. But now that I'm walking through the woods, I'm like, they're fucking everywhere.
Yeah, you know a lot about outdoor shit. You can actually tell fish apart. I can't tell fish.
Yeah. Speaking of the fish, we had a nice little fish session there in the morning.
Derek caught about 10 fish, and they weren't like
they weren't gigantic. Because like we were pretty limited to how far we could cast off.
Yeah, and it's like, but like they were, I don't know. Not even like.
Well, there was two different types of fish we were catching. We were catching smallmouth bass.
You caught like 10 fish in total.
Probably, yeah. So the smallmouth bass, I don't think the biggest one we caught was like maybe 10 inches. Like they were pretty small.
That was yours.
I don't know, maybe. And also we were catching some of the biggest rock bass I've ever seen in my life too. Like I didn't know rock bass can get that big. So that was pretty cool. And then remember I caught that big fish, and after I was just like, oh, Dom, look, I did exactly this, and I caught a fish.
So Derek drops, like he didn't even cast. Like we're up on this rock ledge, and the water's probably going to be like 10, 12 feet below us.
Yeah.
And we're directly above it. And Derek doesn't cast. He just drops his lure into the water. And like 3 seconds later, just pulls up a fish. And I'm like, you asshole.
and Dom's there casting for his life.
And I'm just like casting like 40 feet out. Yeah. Then Derek just drops it again in the same spot.
I was like, Dom, I just did this, and look, oh my God.
Pulls up another fish. And I'm like, you son of a bitch. And I'm like, you're not going to go for 3. Sure enough, he does. He just drops just in the same spot, like right in front of your feet, but just 10 feet down, 12 feet down, whatever it was. Yeah. Pulls up a third one. And I'm like, F this. So I walk all the way around to that spot. I'm like, Derek, let me try. So I drop mine down, and I get like a nibble, and I just yank it, and then I see the fish swim away, and I'm like, damn it.
That's what I found too. They were spooking pretty easily. So once you kind of like were at a spot, like if you caught one fish, that was it for that spot. So you had to kind of move along.
Well, we almost caught pretty much. You caught 3 in a row, like with no casts.
But then the piece de resistance was freaking Dom here. Okay, first off, we're fishing with a small trout worm. It's like a little 2-inch soft plastic trout worm. Yeah. Because we were trying for the bigger smallmouth bass, and we weren't seeing that they were there. So we just downsized, and we're catching whatever we could. So we're casting, catching a little fish here and there.
And I guess full disclosure,
yeah,
I caught my first fish on this continent there. I am a complete
novice,
amateur.
Like, yeah, I had to teach him how to cast when we first got there.
Dom does not know what's going on.
So we're fishing, and then Dom goes, "Oh, Derek," and I look over, and I see the rod is bent over.
And like now I'm like, "Oh shit," because this rod is bent to hell.
Yeah, so it's completely bent over, and I'm just like, oh, like, you got one? He's like, yeah, it's a fish. It's a fish. And I see him reeling it in, but I'm not seeing any like movement to the rod. So I'm like, it didn't look like the fish was fighting. So I thought maybe it was a snag. So I walked over and I took the rod from him and said, let me see. And since I thought it was a snag, I was going to see if I can pop it off. And then I start reeling it in, and lo and behold, I see this huge shadow come up from the depths. And so this thing, I guess, had been sitting there and wasn't fighting. So that's why it looked like it was a snag, and there was no head shakes or anything like that. So as soon as I saw it was a fish, I was like, oh shit, this is yours. And I gave it back to him.
And then I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, this thing turned out to be a huge catfish. The biggest catfish I've seen.
Biggest catfish I've ever seen.
And
like a good 10-pounder, you think?
Maybe a little less. I'm thinking maybe 6.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. I think
it
at
was
least
a
6.
Big ass fish.
Had a big fucking head.
Oh,
but
yeah,
like
dude.
I said, it was the biggest catfish I've seen firsthand.
And then I'm trying to like I'm like, oh my god, and I'm trying to reel it in.
And the thing is that your fishing rod's not set up for big fish.
No, because like it was I don't know, I don't know what to say. Like
you were reeling, but it wasn't
reeling,
coming in.
Like it was slipping. Like it wasn't actually making movement.
Yeah.
So I'm a dumbass, and I'm like, I'm gonna walk it out. So I start walking backwards up the cliff, and again, amateur hour.
Yeah,
here,
and if you saw the video,
hour.
that's the video you saw. Is the end of Dom like walking up the hill trying to pull the fish.
Yeah,
in.
and like now in hindsight. And you told me this.
Yeah, I said just stay at the bottom, stay near the water, let it fight and get tired so we can bring it in.
And of course, me being me, it's like no, I'm gonna walk it out. So I try walking backwards because I'm like, he's not getting any more line, so I'm just gonna walk him up until the water's edge. There, I can yank him out. And as soon as I walked far behind me. The line hit
the rock,
a rock, and it cut off, and
shredded,
and then he went away. But like for that second there, I was just ecstatic. I'm like, oh my god,
that was amazing. I was not expecting a catfish.
And I'm like, and then you started that video. It's like you recorded me, and I'm just yelling, I got fucking catfished.
That was unreal. I never would have thought of catfish because I'm thinking where we're going. I'm like, okay, smallmouth bass. Maybe if we're lucky, a walleye. Maybe. Catfish, didn't even think about it.
We were planning on eating something. That was going to be our thing. If we caught something decent, we were going to eat it. We were going to just cook it up and eat it. We
weren't expecting
a big ass catfish.
Jesus Christ. I think that was, what was that?
So this was last Thursday. Derek will occasionally come up to me and has in between at work. And it's just like, oh, by the way, that fucking catfish that got away from you.
Like, I keep thinking about it.
He does, and it's like it's completely in my and like it's not even on a back burner because to me, like it's not even that relevant that I almost caught a cat. Like if I caught it, I'd have been like, fuck yeah. But I didn't. So it's just like, but
should we also let them know about your little incident in the middle of the night?
So like I was still well, we were both during the day. We were both what's the proper word?
Exhausted?
Yes, we weren't intoxicated. What's the proper word here?
Inebriated?
Yes, we were high. So at night, I was paranoid as shit that. Don't worry, I'm leading up to this.
Gotcha.
I was paranoid as shit that I didn't put my food in like the bear trap or not bear trap. The bear bag.
Which I had suggested.
You did. My
and
food's
I found
like
a perfect tree.
You did. I just put my food in my bag beside my fucking head. So I'm kind of paranoid as shit. I'm not a huge fan of sleeping outside because in my house there's no noise. I sleep in the complete silence. So all this like swooshing noise and shit. It's just like it doesn't creep me out, but like I don't sit well in it. I'm just not used to it.
Well, I got to admit too, like for me, sleeping in the woods really creepy.
Yeah, it really is creepy. So
even as many times as I've been out there, it's always creepy.
And the water's about 2 feet behind and 3 feet below my head. It's not very far at all. It was right at the tree that the back of my setup was attached to. So I'm just I'm not sleeping and I'm kind of dozing in and out and I'm not having the best of time. And like, I'm getting like some weird vibes and shit. And like, I'm just paranoid about animals being out there. And I believe I was asleep, and all I hear is a like snarling, growling noise right below my head. And I'm thinking, fuck me, there's an animal about to like eat the back of my neck. Dude, I'm telling you, shut up. It was directly behind and below me, like a snarling raccoon or something. Like I didn't even hear it walk. I'm just hearing growls. And it's like,
So you were hearing growls, and this is what I hear.
Like I was woken up stiff as a rock, and I tried and I just froze. I just woke up and froze. Then I tried to I'm like, Derek, and then my voice.
You weren't going Derek. You're going.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Because my voice wouldn't even activate. It's like I was sending a signal to my fucking mouth to voice that, and it just wouldn't go. Then I started freaking out that I wasn't able to speak. He's just gutting himself here laughing. And I was like freaking out at the time that I couldn't speak. I was just frozen so stiff, man.
Okay.
It's just like, oh man. And it took me like about 10 tries to get to get a legitimate Derek. And then you're just like, fuck, bro, what the hell? Like you weren't even sleeping. You were up.
No, I was asleep.
Oh, okay.
You actually woke me up. And so
fuck.
So I'll tell you what was going through my head. So this is how weird my brain works too.
Oh my god.
So I had recognized that you were saying my name weird, right? Like you were slurring my name.
Yeah, I was
okay?
and that, for about 4 different attempts.
So I had jumped up and I was just like, what? And you like on it like you couldn't speak. So in my head, I'm going, fuck, he got bit or stung by something and was having an allergic reaction. That's the first thing that popped in my head of why you couldn't speak.
Just frozen stiff.
That made me worried.
And you jumped up.
Right? So that made me worried. And then I said, what's wrong? And then you said something was growling behind me. And then I had this relief come over me.
Oh yeah,
thinking,
I'm just gonna get eaten.
No, because I was just like, good, because that's something we could actually deal with. Is an animal. I can't deal with you having an allergic reaction now because I would have to drag you freaking through the woods, right?
Or
to
call
get
for help in some way, somehow.
Right? So in my head, I'm thinking, at least it's not an allergic reaction that you were having.
Yeah.
And you were just fucking piss scared that there was an animal behind you. And then,
oh man!
And then I reasoned. You remember I reasoned with you. I'm like, "Where'd you hear it?" And you said, "Behind me." I said, "Well, behind you is water. So did you mean behind you or up on the hill?" Because right beside you was the hill. I was trying to reason with you as well. Like
you did, and I was still frozen stiff in my hammock. I was just
and you're like, I'm paralyzed, and I'm like, so are you actually paralyzed? And you're like, no. I was like, are you actually paralyzed? No, you can't move?
No, I wasn't, but I was by fear, man.
Oh, that was so funny.
Fuck. It's funny now, but at the time, I do not recall a time in my life that I was legitimately scared stiff like that. Maybe as a kid, and I don't particularly recall. But in my adult life, that was just frozen stiff in fear from waking up.
Yeah.
Because I legitimately thought that something was right behind my neck.
That was hilarious, dude.
Oh,
and then I went back.
It's funny now.
I went and laid down and was laughing.
You did, you son of a bitch.
Oh my god, it was the best thing I ever heard in my life.
Fucking guy.
And then I'll just walk past you at work and go, no. Fuck. Let me just tell you, I was just so happy you weren't having an allergic reaction.
Man, I literally thought something was fucking behind me, dude.
Well, we don't have an EpiPen.
We should get one.
We should probably get one. That's a smart idea because we don't know. I'm not allergic to anything. I haven't.
Nor am I. That I know
just
of.
In case, right?
I've never been bitten by something and be like, oh fuck. Turns out I am. But yeah,
I have an idea of what that sound might have been. It might have been me.
No.
So I make weird noises when I sleep. My wife tells me I make this train noise, and when you say growling, it was probably I do that. I do this exhale where I'm just like, like that. I do like an exhale like that, where I'm like growling. My wife tells me.
Plausibly could have been, but
Right, and you could have been in like that state of like in between sleep, and you heard it, and you probably thought it was close.
It was like a snarling. Like I thought, legitimately, it was a snarling, like some sort of fox or coyote, because there are wolves up there. I think.
They are
possibly, but like in my stupid mind, it was some sort of dog-like animal, just like not even growling, like snarling. And
like I said, it was probably me.
It could have been you, but as far as my mind is concerned, it animated it behind and below me, and I'm like, my neck's right there, and I just froze stiff. I've never done that.
Well, at least I know now in the future, your fight or flight response is just like zero.
My flight or fight response, like
mine is pretty good. I was up and ready to fight.
You were, but like I thought I was like in a I thought I was like in a predicament, and like let's be honest, I am cocooned.
Yeah,
in my fucking hammock.
That's the thing too. Like how are you supposed to get out?
Here's the thing about a hammocks. Fantastically comfortable to sleep in off the floor,
but if you have to get out in a hurry,
I am not only am I in a hammock, I'm also zipped up in a hammock, and I'm zipped up in my sleeping bag in a zipped up hammock. Like I have 2 layers to fight through to get outside.
Oh, you're in a glass case of emotion.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm fucked. It's like, this isn't like, I'm done.
Yeah.
That's what sucks about it, is that like just to get out of it is a challenge. To get out of it in the dark is definitely a challenge.
So that's why I tend to prefer a tent or sleeping on the ground with a tarp overhead or something, because I like to lay out right in front of me, right beside me, my headlamp and a knife.
Which I had.
So if you noticed right away, I got up and I turned the light on because it was just there. So I grabbed it, clicked it, turned it on.
Like the light that I have is in a little pocket right beside my head.
But it doesn't matter if you're fucking paralyzed in fear.
Oh, dude, fucking scary, man. It's like people can chirp. I don't give a shit. If you were in my same position, I guarantee you would have done the same thing. It's like your position's already compromised. You are fucked. You're just frozen stiff, man. Anyway. Fucking hilarious.
The funniest fucking thing.
Oh, yeah. Zeodom lost his shit that night. Then I was fine after that. And then I'm pretty sure I slept more than you did that night after.
Oh, yeah. I had a horrible night's sleep.
Well, and you were also by the fire, too.
Yeah, I was stoking the fire all night. That's another reason, like I told you, I like to keep the fire stoked overnight. Keeps the boogeyman away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, like, my setup was a good...
That was a really good setup, too.
Well, no. It was, like, 12 feet away. Like, it was way further away than you were from the fire. Like, you're right at the fire.
Yeah.
I'm way further back. So, like, I'm in the pitch dark. And the boogeyman can get me. And I thought it did. Son of a bitch. Still hilarious, though.
At least we knew Peter was close with his chainsaw.
Peter. Would you camp out there by yourself?
Yeah.
I'd have to get more comfortable, especially after that shit show. If I had a dog, I'd do it. But I'm not 100% yet. I could probably do it, but after that shit show, I'd rather just get used to it first.
Yeah.
Next time that we're going up, though, which should be soon.
Yeah.
We're going to go to another spot. And I think we're going to bring a good old pal of ours up there.
Yeah, he'll be a hoot.
Uncle Boyle?
He'll be a hoot for sure. He'll appreciate it.
Crazy motherfucker.
Yeah, and I gotta commend you too on the whole hike in and stuff.
Oh, that's not a problem. It's funny because Derek threw out the word city slicker at me once before, and I'm like, this guy doesn't know who he's talking about. And then you immediately redacted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had no issue.
You're a farm boy, not a city boy. You're a farm boy.
and here I've been going on hikes with backpacks every morning since.
Yeah.
All right, like it was a pretty good, but I am an idiot because I showed up to Derek's house at 7:30 that morning, just ready to go. I thought I was ready to go. And, like, we're going to go bushwhacking together.
Dude, yeah, that's the other thing, too. What you showed up in, I'm just like, what does this guy think we're doing?
I showed up to go to the gym, for lack of a better statement. Yeah. I had shorts and just a t-shirt
shorts,
on.
t-shirt, and sneakers, and I'm just like, but
And I'm like,
there's no trails where we're going.
and I'm like, I don't know what to wear, man. I don't.
It's like Back to the Future. There's no roads where we're going. No, there's no trails where we're going.
Yeah. So Derek had to lend me a pair of outdoor pants because this dumbass was just going out, just gonna get killed. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
That's fine.
We figured it out.
Yeah, like it was pretty quick too from the time that we decided we were gonna go and the time we went. Like, and my like I had to go grab my stuff from my mother-in-law's and my mom's house because
it was
my condo doesn't fit all my gear.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. Like we had days. We had a few days, but we both had other shit we had to do within that time span too. So that it's not like we were completely focused on this trip. We had shit to do.
Yeah. But like I said, like I literally had finished packing when you pulled.
Yep.
Your
And
car
I packed the night before. I stayed up late just to make sure that like we were relatively unprepared, but we were prepared enough.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
to kind of get it done.
I like to take the least amount of stuff anyways. So for me, it's not that hard.
Yep.
I would literally just be like, okay, something to start a fire with. Check. Tarp. Good. That's my shelter. Check.
Yep.
Everything else is basically creature comforts.
Yep.
Like a sleeping pad.
Yep.
And, like a tent. Tent's not necessary.
Yeah. I like my
At
hammock.
least for me,
It's so
anyways.
light.
That's what I'm looking into. Like all the times I've been out, I've never had a hammock, so I'm looking at that too. Because sometimes it is easier. Like you just like
Find two trees.
just throw them up.
Don't use pine trees. I just ruined mine
sap.
by wrapping it around the sap. So now I'm gonna bring some sacrificial rope next time if I'm gonna do that, just to tie that piece in. But no, it's a dope setup. I was comfortable minus the little episode of shit behind me. I was completely fine in it. I didn't get bit. It's got a mosquito net. Totally cocooned and
bugs,
safe.
like there was
no
bugs.
There was barely any bugs.
There was some
The
black
flies.
fly,
Flies were bad.
Just some black fly issues. They kept biting our ankles, just our ankles specifically. It's really weird. Besides that, like I was expecting the bugs to be.
They weren't, man. But here's the thing, actually, just for that day and a half, you and I didn't even talk that much. Like comparatively to like how much we normally talk.
I think it's because like you're appreciating things more. Like there were times where we're just sitting there and we're just like looking out at the water.
Yeah,
Not saying anything. Just like
no.
That's what I like to do too. Like stop taking the pictures for a second and just sit there and just like.
Which we did.
Take a look and just appreciate things.
Or like you would go fish one way, I'd go fish another way for a bit, and then we come cross, like switch spots, or we weren't just totally always talking. Like we just you had your you time, I had my me time, and then we just sat and just like chilled out, made food, whatever. But
that's the thing. There's like I said, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
In terms of like upkeep of the camp and stuff like that, like wood and whatever. Well, so we had to go get wood 2 or 3 times, right? So
and like we had a decent pile. We had some left over. We left them there for the next people. Yeah, and we got to test out some gear and stuff. You know that you need a better saw.
Yeah, the damn Coughlin saw, $8 Coughlin saw.
Oh, that sucked.
I forgot my axe in the car.
You did. I brought for you gear whores out there. I have a Becker BK9, which is a sword, essentially.
Yeah, and I got the little brother, the Becker BK2.
Okay. And then I have what I believe is a Baco Uplander saw, just a little foldable saw. Mm-hmm. But that one's just legit. I think it's made in Sweden. And that one cuts it's just a perfect little saw. It doesn't bend. It just cuts really nicely. Then I used yours. I'm like, this is a piece of shit.
Right.
I'm like, you can have this right back.
Yeah. There's the $8 Coughlin saw.
God. Atrocity. What else what other gear can we talk about? I didn't really bring that much at all. Oh, my little, the Kelly kettle.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
Neat. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. That boils the water wicked quick.
So what it is, it's called a Kelly kettle. You don't see them here very often. They come from Ireland, and they are a kettle that you put water in, and this thing's got a double wall. So on the inside of the kettle is actually where you make a fire, and this thing's not very big. It'll do what, 2 cups, like two teacups, I guess.
No, it's a little more than that.
A little more than that? Because like it was like one canteen cup perfectly. Anyway,
I would say at least 500 mils.
Okay, so 500 mils.
Half a liter.
Yeah, I would say that. So it has half a liter of space between the double wall where you put water in.
Yeah.
And then you light the fire inside of this thing, and it sits on a cup which has 3 holes, so that's where the air comes in. And then you keep throwing and I was throwing in twigs.
Yeah.
Like I was throwing pine needles inside. Like I'd put an ember on that, they'd catch. Put the kettle on top, and throw twigs inside this thing. And within 4 minutes,
I would say, within 4 minutes that thing was roaring.
Like it would boil so hard that it would throw the cap off. And it would just start pouring over, so you have to take it off the base where it sits. And to me, that was just it was the first time that I got to use that. It was neat for me because I've had it for years and never had a chance to use it. So I was toying with it quite a bit.
No, it worked out because I was just going to boil water in my pot.
Right,
that would have taken twice as long.
And that thing is just goes like nothing. On not much.
And we filled 2 pots in a bottle, I think?
2 pots in a bottle. The only thing is that it gets it too hot. Like it gets
you can't handle it.
Yeah. It's so hot that you have to pour it in something.
And then sit it in the water's edge to cool down.
Yeah. But yeah, we boiled, we had teas, coffees. It was for food. And that pretty much did almost all of the boiling.
Yeah, it did. No, it did all of it.
It did all of it.
And we had water for the next day even.
Yeah, we made you and I poured out some water on the way out. Like we had too much water.
Yeah, and so on the hike out, it was just too heavy to carry, so I had to pour most of it.
Yeah, and we did it all with twigs. Like there was a pile of twigs just sitting by, and I just broke them up, threw them in, lit them, and it just go. And it was I enjoy it. It doesn't weigh very much. It's called a Kelly kettle. I don't even remember how much I paid for it, but I like things that I can light on fire, and it was a cool little thing for me. And I like it. I don't know if I said that.
Yeah, we got to go again. I got another spot.
Well, 2 weeks. We're talking about it today. We just got to make sure he's going to be so happy when we tell him.
Dude, yeah, definitely.
He's going to be stoked because he was jealous. That we went.
No, yeah. We're going to go again. Definitely. Especially just knowing we can get there within 2 hours. We only did 1 pit stop, I think, too, the whole time.
45 minutes, Derek.
And all we've talked about was camping.
Fuck yeah, man. It's just something that we haven't had a chance to do because of bullshit. And we should at least we got another month and a bit of season left. Even towards the end of September, it can still be decent.
End of September, dude. You're talking to the guy who goes winter camping.
Yeah, well,
it's open all season for me,
buddy. Not this guy. Not this guy.
Have you ever been camping in October?
No.
It's my favorite time to go camping.
Why?
It's just first off, it's cooler, so that's better. You're not sweating your tits off. And I like the fact that things really start to matter at that point. Like having a fire at nighttime matters. True. You know, trying to keep warm matters.
There's less bugs.
Definitely, yeah, less bugs. That's probably the biggest bonus. No more black flies biting your ankles.
It's less busy.
It wasn't that busy for us anyways. We're in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Just bumped into Peter. Hey, Peter.
Peter's all right.
We've got to figure out that marina situation, though.
That was all right. We didn't have an issue.
Didn't know where the hell to go. Not to mention, it's just so splayed out. We kind of walked a bit trying to find out where we had to go pay for that parking. Also, that was kind of bullshit too, because I told you that was new. They had never had done paid parking there before. But I don't know. I guess people were taking advantage of it.
Well, I'm sure they've had an influx of people, given that there hasn't been much other activities to do except go to your cottage. I'm sure, and that parking lot was looking not packed.
No,
but
it was packed when we left.
It was packed when we left.
Yeah. Because that was the Friday, so that makes sense.
Oh, and the 400. So Derek and I are driving.
Yeah.
So we're driving southbound at about noon, 12:30. So we made it on the 400 at Barrie at about 1. And we're heading south, and the northbound traffic, all 3 lanes are stopped.
Yeah, it was stopped from...
And then we keep going, and they're still stopped.
We
keep going,
stopped the whole way from Barrie down to Vaughan.
Yep.
Down to Canada's Wonderland. It was bumper to bumper, completely stopped. And I couldn't understand
No,
why.
you were freaking out. And
I was like, it's never been like, I understand, like, I know the 400 north. I know that highway very well during busy times and whatnot. But I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Why it's bumper to bumper like this? Like, I get it's busy closer to the weekends, people going up. But it was
the Friday.
That. Yeah. But it shouldn't have been like that.
And you could tell people were going camping into cottages.
Because everyone had kayaks and shit on the roofs. So you know it was the cottage folk. But like I said, it still didn't make sense to me that they were bumper to bumper for that long.
And it wasn't a long weekend either.
And then I found that video the next day.
Yeah, you did.
Of that guy thinking he was playing Mario Karts. And he took out 3 other vehicles on the 400 North. So I'm wondering if that was the Friday.
Possibly.
Because that would explain it, why they were completely stopped.
Oh, man. That sucked.
Didn't make sense.
That sucked because they must have been there
6 hours.
Probably.
If they were at the back of the line down in Vaughan,
yep.
There's no way they made it up to even close to Barrie within 4 or 5 hours.
So you're stuck in traffic, and then there's Derek. As we're coming up to Milton, he's like, I got 42 kilometers left of gas. You think I can fucking make it?
Think we can do it?
Think we can do it? I'm like, you asshole! Like, no. And it was like, I googled it, and it was like 78 kilometers. It wasn't 78, but it was something way more than 42. And I'm like, you're ridiculous. Stop for gas. And you did, but like, think about
could have done it.
No, no. Think about if you're one of those people that like thought you were gonna get off at the next exit. And then you're stuck for an hour, just moving to that exit, and you're stuck there for like 5-6 hours, trying to like with the car packed full of kids and the dog, and everybody's just bitching, and you should have stayed home, and then your wife starts yelling. It's fuck. Better you than me, pal. And you and I were leaving. It's like, see ya.
Gotta go during the week. It's the best time.
Yep. And I think up there would have probably be even worse during the weekend because everybody would have been out with their boats, ripping around.
As they were.
Well, they were just, a lot of people you could see, they were heading up with supplies. Like the boats were packed with like bags, kids.
That's the one thing that's the one thing I noticed. A lot of people were just getting there too. So you could see that they had gone the one way. And then when they came back, it was just the driver. So they were going to grab.
And there were a lot of boats in the marina when we showed up, and
Tons.
There were less boats there, significantly less boats when we were left.
But for real though, that really messed up our fishing.
What, the boats?
Yeah, man. Every 2 minutes, a boat would come by and create these crazy wakes.
Yeah, that definitely screwed with it. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't.
It was the best fishing I've had there.
Yeah,
so far.
Yep.
Not counting the catfish.
I'm gonna buy a fishing rod. Screw it. I'm gonna buy a fishing rod.
Yeah.
After we make some money back for our Patreon. Because
hey, Patreon.
You gotta get that back.
Where's that buzzer?
Get that buzzer.
Hold on a second.
Go get that buzzer.
Patreon.
Because we just dropped like $500 on this shit. Anyway.
But no, yeah. I'm keeping my eye out for that collapsible fishing rod we sell there at work. I used to have one of those. That was my backpacking fishing rod because it collapses down. You stick it on the side of your backpack.
Well, I didn't mind walking in with the ones that we had.
It's just so hard to walk through the bush with that because it keeps
wasn't
getting
that
stuck.
Yeah, but it wasn't that brutal.
It wasn't that bad, but to have your hand free as well.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's always good. Well, it is what it is. We made do and we survived. And no one got poked in the eye with somebody else's fishing rod,
and no one got a fishing hook in the eye.
No.
And no one got attacked by a wild animal at 3 a.m.
Nope. Shut the fuck up. God damn it. It was a wicked trip, man. It was duly noted. For a good 3 hours of the day, I sat on my hammock, just contending life, and just wrote down notes. And it was just beautifully needed time to just get away from shit.
Yeah, it was a really chill place.
The thing that I hate is the next day, like day 2, is like your stupid brain just starts thinking about all this shit. Like the first day, you're just happy that you're away from civilization and you're happy that you're at the water's edge. And then day 2,
the closer you get to leaving, you're just like fuck, all this shit's waiting for me back
I'm
home.
thinking of emails and grocery shopping and shit I got to do the next day before going to work. And it's just like, shut the fuck up.
But that's why these little vacations are necessary. It's just so you could have that little downtime, even if it is for a day.
Yeah,
because it's just the amount of stress off your mind is.
Yeah, but that's what it really was. But a time that,
especially, I think we've been nonstop for the past 4 months too.
You and I,
like at work.
Yeah,
like nonstop since this COVID crap hit, and that's another level of stress too. Is this COVID stuff?
I had one day. I went to my friend Sam's girlfriend's grandma's, whatever it was, cottage. The one day, it wasn't even a full day because I went after work, and then I came home the next day, and then did something later that day as well. Yeah, like it definitely. So that's 2 days in 4 months. More than that. 5 months. March. Help me out with my months. March, May, June, July, August. 5 months because we're at 20th. Yeah, it freaking sucks, man. But it's like there's no other activities to do, and it is what it is. It's just, and everybody else is doing the same activities as well.
Except for the fact that we're not going to a park, so we're actually by ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's good to get away from the people.
Yeah, man. It was good. It was good.
Breathe some fresh air without a goddamn mask on your face.
Fuck. I wish we could talk about some of those people. Well, we can't. We can't. People have been asking for us to rip on things that we see, but we are not allowed. We are not allowed. As much as it's our own podcast, there's rules.
Unless we make it a Patreon episode.
There's still rules.
Son of a gun.
Unless we jack the price. So only 2 people watch it. It's the people that are willing to pay it to listen to us. Just lose our shit.
Yeah, but we'll keep everyone abreast of other adventures. Also, yeah, and we got to figure out a way to film this too, because I think throwing it up on the YouTubes.
Yeah, so we are on YouTube as well.
Yeah, we're on the YouTubes as well. Mm-hmm. So we should try to figure out a way to film it.
Oh yeah,
people might be very much interested in actually watching it than hearing it secondhand after. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. So they can get to meet Peter too.
Peter. We should have taken a picture with Peter.
Oh fuck, we should have.
Peter and his chainsaw. Peter, can we take a picture of you just hacking down a tree?
Oh man, that would have been. Oh fuck.
with the cigarette in his mouth, like
blown opportunity right there.
Yeah. And then cuts off his limb because he's being a dick. Anyway. Episode 10, buddy.
Episode 10?
Episode 10.
And all it was a recap. That was crazy.
People wanted to hear about it.
Yeah.
So, and all it really was, the highlight was me freaking the fuck out.
Being catfished. You've been catfished.
I'm being fucking catfished. Anyway. That's episode 10. Anything you want to finish it off with?
Spay and neuter your pets.
What the hell, man?
I don't know. That's what Bob Barker used to say at the end of his show. Remember, spay and neuter your pets.
Well, on that bouncing bombshell, we'll see you.
Cut your pets' balls off. Thank you.